Hey, what's up, Mr. Beer Poppy? Check out the video I made about Trisha. Oh, Ryan, what's going on, brother? I haven't seen you in a while, bro. What's going on, my man? Come over to my house, call a taxi. I'll check it out right now just for you, my man. I'm picky with my women. Let's see. Mr. Beard. Mr. Beard. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Ryan. Ryan jumps into my chat and says, Papa, he goes, Papa Gut. Wait, where is it? He says, Papa, you should check out the video I made about Trisha. And I'm like, yeah, no problem, bro. Bro, look at this. She's worse than you think. She's an actual Nazi. This is insane. It's in 4K, dude. Holy moly. All right. I'm going to watch it. Let's see what we got here, brother. Let's see. Content warning. Flashing lights. Serious discussions of racism, anti-Semitism, domestic abuse. Let's do it.
Trisha Paytas is one of the most openly anti-Semitic creators on YouTube.
Is that real? What the fuck?
The things Trisha has said about Jewish people are the types of things that would get most people banned for spreading alt-right propaganda, but
probably not me. I'm good at it.
Because she's Trisha, she was allowed to spread her anti-Semitic rhetoric on one of the most popular podcasts on the internet, Frenemies, last year. Over the years, she has consistently...
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I've seen a lot of insensitive remarks from her on Frenemies, but also like Ethan was there to call it out, but then also play into the joke a little bit, you know, because people found it entertaining. I think this is one of those things where, like, obviously Trisha people don't look at Trisha in good faith because it's not like this is the only problem she's had. Like, she is just an absolute mess in general. But that was part of the shtick. It's like, oh, let's have this like ignorant. It really is like this ignorant person. And people are like, it's funny, dumb Trisha, you know.
Spread actual Nazi rhetoric. Even openly racist people like Steven Crowder haven't spread the type of horrible shit about Jewish people that Trisha has.
Hitler can't be all bad if he had this big following.
But somehow she's been able to convince many people that it's not that serious by constantly playing dumb.
You just found out about the Holocaust?
I had no idea.
Bro, like, but that's what I mean. So she like knew what the Holocaust was, but then she's like, I didn't know what that was. Like, that's what we do. Like, it's a fucking insane character. It's an insane character, and people found it interesting at the time. You know what I'm saying?
I really love movies and books about the Holocaust.
Contradicting herself.
Like, what's the stereotype about Jews? Like, my cheap Jew boyfriend with a big nose. I don't say that. Jewish people are cheap. I like the stereotypes of like their noses.
And victimizing
Jesus Christ.
Herself whenever she gets called out.
When you make those statements of being an anti-Semite.
Did she remove this video? I feel like did she remove that video after she had like this big thing with like Ethan? I feel like that one got removed.
It's really damaging.
Apparently, being criticized for her racist actions is incredibly damaging to Trisha, and we all need to stop talking about her.
Please stop talking about her.
Yeah, she removed that
Trisha
one,
claims
right?
that if anyone ever asked her to stop talking about them, she absolutely would.
If someone asked me ever, even in my worst days on YouTube, to stop talking about them, I would cease immediately.
This is complete.
That's just a weird claim.
Complete bullshit. In Frenemies episode 10, Charlie D'Amelio, a 16-year-old, asked Trisha to stop attacking her.
I'm just gonna say, Trisha Paytas, like, this is not just, you have been completely rude to me multiple times. Just, like, please stop talking about me.
And this is how Trisha responded.
You are boring. You don't dance well. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm allowed to have an opinion. When you have 100 million followers, brand deals with Duncan, all this money, good for you.
Well,
don't expect people to not like critique your actions. That's
You know what's so interesting? The reasoning that why she criticized her, and because she got a really bad rap there. She got a really bad rap on that one. Because basically they did like a show on YouTube. They did like a YouTube show, and the dad like kind of pranked the kids by making them snails. And Charlie apparently has like an eating disorder, so she doesn't really eat too much outside of chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese. So two things that people criticize her for. One, because she said in a really nice way, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I hit 100 million followers at the time of my on the year anniversary of my 1 million? Not in like a rude, entitled way. And then James Charles was like, you don't have enough? Right? It's so funny that James Charles' snarkiness is what set people off and be like, yeah, you're right, James. Like, really? Yeah, you're definitely right, James. Like, you're the guy that's right. You know, definitely when it comes to age of consent as well. The second thing was like she didn't want to eat the snails, and people were calling her like rude. And that's where Trisha came in. Now, I know you see this here. Now, these are a series of 2 different videos here. These are older videos from a year ago when this controversy happened. I'm telling you right now, this right here, like this, this is just called dragging Trisha Paytas for Charli D'Amelio. It's what it like. Listen, man, it's a very interesting piece. I would say like, hey, go check it out, because it's pretty good. I just remember it because I dragged her on it. Anyway. Let's go.
That's the limelight.
So, in Trisha's mind, when a 16-year-old asks her to stop calling her out, Trisha won't because she should be able to critique Charli's actions. But we shouldn't be able to critique Trisha, a 33-year-old's racist actions because the hate is just too much and it's just so incredibly damaging to her. She even tells Charli to suck it up because everyone on the internet deals with criticism.
Here's my thing. Like, suck it up.
Well,
I think that would be a fine perspective if Trisha was consistent. If she was consistent in that, but then just like she just changes her mind based on what benefits her.
Trisha, it's time for you to take your own advice. When you get called out for being anti-Semitic, you need to suck it the fuck up, because the people who are actually hurt when you're racist are the Jewish people whose people actually experience genocide, not your fragile white ass who can't handle being called out for your racist actions. And according to your own...
Did we call it racist? I guess because there is a Jewish race. Like there is actually like an ethnic Jew. I believe I have a little bit of that Jew in me. Is that interesting? Ashkenazi, I think it's called. So maybe it could be considered racist, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Bigoted. That's the word I'd use.
Own words, you actually agree with me that I should be able to criticize you.
Never let influencers or anyone tell you to not comment, not give your opinions, your beliefs, your thoughts. Don't let anyone tell you not to call someone out if you think someone's in the wrong.
If someone asks you to stop talking, I'm just stop talking.
Don't let anyone ever silence you.
Every time I see that, I laugh, bro. I'm sorry.
You're allowed to have your opinions, and when people put themselves online, they have to accept other people's criticism, critiques, and opinions.
I think by now most people on the internet are aware that Trisha is an abusive, manipulative, racist, pathological liar, but I think a lot of people aren't aware just how deeply anti-Semitic Trisha actually is. I'm not someone who likes to be hyperbolic, but I cannot stress enough that the things Trisha has said about Jewish people are the exact same things that Nazis say on alt-right message boards like Stormfront. I think a lot of people are...
Oh yeah, how would you know, Brian? Are you on those alt message boards? Huh? What do they call it? I'm just kidding.
Only aware of some of the more subtly anti-Semitic things Trisha has said, like calling her lunch her Jew lunch.
Now, Trisha, you know you can't. You says rating my Jew lunch.
That.
I can tell you with 100% certainty you cannot say that. It's offensive.
In this video, I'm mostly not going to be focusing on how Trisha fetishizes Jewish people, something she has both denied doing and openly admitted to doing.
It's weird how you fetishize Jewish
It's
people.
not fetishizing. I just like to fetishize anybody Israeli now.
I'm also mostly not going to focus on her cultural appropriation of Jewish culture, something she calls cultural appreciation.
This is kind of like cultural appropriation, isn't it?
Appreciation.
Trisha has built her entire career
I don't know what they're referring to. It does depend.
around cultural appropriation, so criticizing her for this feels kind of redundant at this point. No, I'm going to be focusing on the things that she has said that are directly in line with the messaging of the Nazi Party. In my opinion, there are 2 options for who Trisha really is. Either she is just a troll who uses anti-Semitism to stir up controversy and grow her platform, or she's an actual covert Nazi. Whichever one it is, she has
I don't think she's a covert Nazi. I think that she's just like, she just really just says things for attention. You know what I find really interesting about Trisha is that she says things for attention, but she expects the attention to be good no matter what. That's the thing that's bizarre more than anything else, is that she says things for attention, but like in her warped brain, it should be positive attention regardless of what she's saying. That's the thing that I find fucking fascinating about this woman.
Questionably used anti-Semitism for her own personal gain, and I think she is far beyond being allowed any sort of redemption by crying on her kitchen floor and making an apology video filled with self-victimization and excuses. Trisha has said herself that it's impossible to cancel her because you can't cancel someone who only cares about making money.
I don't believe that people can be canceled. You have to go away to be canceled. But, I've definitely trolled for money.
Yeah.
I definitely have said, like, whatever, Hitler's like, whatever. You know what I mean? People just won't forgive me. And that's fine. I don't expect it. I make a ton of money, so it's fine.
So,
If she had just held to that perspective, then she would have it would have been much better. But again, like if she just like will crumble under pressure constantly. The only reason she was feeling that bold in that video is because she was on Frenemies and like Ethan was there. So like her actions were more protected because Ethan was like using his credibility to like keep her a bit safe. So that's why. Like if Frenemies was still going on, nobody would have given a shit about any of the stuff from the past. They still would have been like, oh, look at Trisha, this is silly old goose. That would have been the perspective, but she pissed off Ethan, and then like everything kind of crumbled for there. And I'm not blaming Ethan. I'm just saying like that is the facts. Like you all know that there wouldn't be this massive like call out thing going on. And if Ethan gave her another chance, it would go back to that as well. But now I don't think Ethan feels like he could socially give her another chance anyway, and she doesn't really deserve it. So,
in this video,
I want to go into the timeline where Frenemies never ended, because Frenemies was actually entertaining.
I won't cancel Trisha Paytas, but hopefully by debunking her anti-Semitic rhetoric, I can arm you with the tools to stop letting anti-Semites like her gain this sort of platform to spread their hateful messages ever again. I just want to quickly preface this video by saying that Ethan Klein is in no way perfect. I definitely disagree with some of the things he said in the past about fat people, trans people, and some of the racist jokes he's made.
I don't. I loved all of them. Just kidding.
But in my opinion, Trisha Paytas is on a whole
I think he also apologized for them in his defense.
Different level. Ethan has never physically abused his partner or spread actual Nazi propaganda or lied over and over and over again. So to any Trisha fans who say, well, Ethan is just as bad as Trisha, you're a fucking idiot. Now, it is time to prove how Trisha Paytas legitimately hates Jewish people.
Do we really think she hates Jewish people, or do we think that she's just too dumb and doesn't understand the implications of her actions or something? I don't know if she hates Jewish people. Although, it's interesting. It's actually interesting, right? So we use the word fetish a lot. I think like it depends on the time of day. We'll use the word fetish to mean an attraction towards somebody. Most of the time, actually, when we say the word fetish, people don't understand that like fetishes actually are generally hateful. Like there's a difference between being attracted to like overweight people versus being like fetishizing them, right? Feeders fetishize overweight people. And if you watch feeders, it's not a positive, loving type of a scenario. There's usually hatred there. They think it's like they're attracted to the disgustingness of the person. They're like, look at you eating so much, you're disgusting, and they're turned on by it. But it's not out of love. It's out of like disgust. And that's what fetishizing is. So if Trisha truly is fetishizing Jewish people, because you can have a preference to Jewish people, right? Like there are people with like Jewish features, I don't know, like fucking curly hair. I have some curly hair and whatnot. Like, yeah, that's fine. You could be attracted to Jewish features, but like fetishizing them, that would come with like a level of hatred. So if she truly is fetishizing Jewish people, like, yeah, she would hate Jewish people. Yeah. But I don't know if I don't know if it's an actual act of fetishization. There's definitely a disrespect to the community. Why does fetishizing come with a level of hatred? It just does, man. That's like what a fetish is. It's like a level of hatred. Like when people fetishize trans people, like they're like, I want to fuck a trans person, but like they don't do it in a positive way. Like it's the difference between being attracted to trans people and like wanting to like fetishize them. Like there's a hatred aspect to it. Like that's why it's called a fetish. That's what crosses the boundary into fetish, is the negative hatred aspect to it. That's what fetishizing is. Like we use the term in like a very loose way. We're like, oh, I have a fetish for BBC. But if you really did, then you would be disrespectful. Like if it's not like, oh, you might like big black penis. That's fine. You might have a preference to it. But fetishizing it, there's a racist element there. What makes it a fetish is like the degradation aspect and the disrespectful aspect, even if it's in your head. That's what makes it like a fetish, you know? Do I have a fetish for BBC? I'll never tell.
First, I think it would be good to establish how we can't believe anything that Trisha says. In Frenemies episode 4, Trisha claims that she just learned how bad the Holocaust was, and that she had no idea that millions of Jews were killed by being tricked into the showers.
You just found out about the Holocaust?
I had no idea that they like tricked them into going into showers and like killed millions of them that way.
This is a complete lie. Back in 2011, in a video titled 20 Things You Didn't Know About Me, Trisha says that she loves movies and books about the Holocaust.
Well, you know, Ryan, in her defense, she does so much meth or some kind of a drug that maybe she just doesn't remember. Yeah.
I really love movies and books about the Holocaust.
In this video, she recommends the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
It's crazy. It's like that boy in the striped pajamas. I mean, stuff like that is just like, it takes me to another world.
Spoiler
That is like her genuine phase, though.
alert. The final scene in the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas shows Jewish people being tricked into the showers. Yet somehow, 9 years later, Trisha is claiming that she never knew about how they were tricked into the showers.
I had no idea.
In another video Trisha uploaded called My Thoughts on Hitler, which we will dive more into later, she says Hitler killed a bunch of Jews. That's a fact.
So Hitler killed a bunch of Jews. That's a fact.
So, years ago, she knew that Jews were tricked into the shower, and she knew that Hitler killed a bunch of Jews, so what motivation could she possibly have to directly lie to a Jewish man about her knowledge of the Holocaust and pretend like she didn't know what Hitler did that was so bad?
I mean, it's the character, man. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. I know that the people will be like, no, it's the shtick. She was the dumb fuck blonde. And honestly, that's a character that she's really like become the embodiment of. She used to like love Anna Nicole Smith. She used to love, like, she wanted to be the dumb fucking klutzy blonde idiot. Like, that's what she wanted to be. And so like when they're on Frenemies, that's what she did. She played up like the ignorant blonde woman that just said dumb shit. You know, Pamela Anderson, yeah, like that's what she did. She turned herself into them to an extent because she has no actual personality, like a bimbo. She has no personality, you know. So that's where that really comes from.
Well, what if I do that was so bad?
My opinion is Trisha plays up this persona of ignorance to give herself plausible deniability whenever she gets called out on the hateful things that she says.
I don't think she's that smart, man. I think that is like a fucking dumbass character, and she's just caught in so many lies that she doesn't care anymore until she gets the hatred, and then she cries.
If you ever call her out for saying something racist or tell her how fucked up it is to pretend like you don't know how bad Hitler was, she'll just respond by saying, "Oh, I had no idea." And most people believe her because Trisha has cultivated this image of herself that she's much more stupid than she actually is. You may be surprised to find out that Trisha is actually a geneticist and a computer programmer.
I was a genetics major and a physical anthropology minor in college. I mean, I write computer programs. I feel like I'm so talented.
But when Trisha moved to LA, she realized that she could find success by pretending to be an extremely stereotypical blonde bimbo.
Well, she's always wanted to be like that fucking like attention grabber like bullshit, you know. She has like a horrible family life and all that, no boundaries, and she always wanted to be popular. She would constantly lie for attention. Like, that's where she gets that from.
Playing in
I mean, how do we know she didn't lie about the computer shit? I mean, really, how do we know?
into misogynistic stereotypes about how dumb blonde women are, she was able to troll her way to success. She's pretended like she doesn't know that dogs have brains.
I tweeted, do dogs have brains? Because I like seriously wanted to know.
Pretended she thinks that gravity was invented.
dumb.
What do you mean that we don't need gravity?
What if it was never invented?
And pretended like she doesn't know what climate change is.
Do you believe that climate change is the most urgent time bomb that we need to face immediately and boldly?
I have no idea what that is.
The idea that a geneticist wouldn't know that dogs have brains.
Like, I know it's a character, but like we all went back during the Frenemies time, we wanted that. You know what I mean? Like, we wanted the dumb blonde bimbo character.
Or understand basic scientific concepts like gravity or climate change is completely ludicrous. And in case you still have doubts, in 2013 she made a video called Global Warming is a Hoax.
Global warming is a hoax.
So in 2020, claiming that she doesn't know what climate change is
I have no idea what that is.
was another blatant lie. In my opinion, her constantly playing dumb highlights the insidious truth that whenever she pushes an anti-Semitic stereotype, she knows exactly what she's doing. Trisha openly admitted on a podcast with Shane Dawson that
I personally just don't think that she puts any depth of thought into anything that she says or does. I think she just does a thing for attention. Like, I just don't think that she's like intelligent enough to be like, I'm going to push anti-Semitic rhetoric. I think that she's dumb. And what's probably more likely is she feels bolder now to make like anti-Semitic jokes and to be anti-Semitic because she has a Jewish family and she feels like that's a shield. I think that's more likely, and so she doesn't really care about the implications of her actions as much because she's like, well, I have a Jewish husband, I can do what I want. You know what I'm saying?
that most of the things she says on YouTube are lies.
Like, my personal life is not my real personal life on YouTube. Like, I make up a personal life on YouTube. I have a fake life on YouTube, and then I have like a real life.
But while Trisha was on Frenemies, she was trying to push this narrative that while in the past she used to lie, now she doesn't lie anymore.
I just am asking because I know people are going to be like, she admits she's a pathological liar. You can't trust anything she says.
Like when I was
That's
younger,
true.
right? I'm not now. I don't lie. I make a really conscious effort to
I
not
believe
lie.
everything you say. I don't think you're a liar.
And
She probably wasn't lying then, like in that 5-minute period, you know?
in the past, she used to make trolling videos and be problematic, but now she doesn't troll anymore and she's trying to not be problematic.
I've said offensive things way in my past that will haunt me forever. You know what I mean? Like, I know I do stuff that's problematic, but that was when I was in my 20s. You know, I'm 32 and I'm trying to like do better.
But this is complete and utter bullshit because she constantly lied while she was on Frenemies.
You just found out about the
I
Holocaust?
had no idea.
And some of the most harmful things Trisha has ever said about Jewish people were said on Frenemies. Now that we've established that Trisha is a liar, let's chronicle all of the hateful things that she has said about Jewish people. Let's start with her just straight up insulting them. Trisha has called Jewish men assholes,
They're like assholes.
has said Jews are traditionally unattractive,
Jews are traditionally unattractive.
I wonder what that means. Well, it's Trisha, so it could probably mean the worst case scenario. But like, I mean, you would imagine that Jewish people, like ethnic Jewish people, probably don't adhere to like Western beauty standards or like like that's what when I hear traditionally attractive, I hear like modern beauty standards or Western beauty standards.
has called Jews cheap,
Jewish people are cheap.
and has called Ethan money hungry with absolutely no evidence.
I know you're all about the money, and not just because you're Jewish.
Trisha often tries to mask her hateful statements by using a technique called love bombing. This is a technique often used by abusive narcissists where they overcompensate by repeatedly saying how much they love someone to deflect from their abusive behavior towards that person. Trisha uses this technique of love bombing whenever she talks about Jewish people.
The stereotypes you make about Jews feed into anti-Semitism.
But it's my love for them. I love the stereotypes of Jewish people.
That might be true.
That's why I love Jewish men. They have like a sensitive side to them at the end of the day.
I know, I know.
love Jewish men so much. Like that's all I go for.
She has repeated over and over.
You know, it's interesting because I don't think, I'm trying to think about it. I don't think I've ever heard her talk about any other group of people like this. So it does make it rather interesting. Maybe there is an actual fetish here. Because I haven't seen her talk about any other group of people in the same way. So it's possible she legitimately does fetishize Jewish men, or that she just thinks the jokes are funny, and because she likes Jewish men and she's married to one, and that's her best friend, honestly was Ethan for a while, that she feels like she feels strong enough to make the jokes. You know, it's still up in the air, but it's interesting.
And over again how much she loves Jewish people and how they're so hot.
It's like they're so hot.
Well, Trisha, do you think they're hot or do you think they're unattractive?
Jews are traditionally unattractive.
Because,
well, those are two different. Traditionally unattractive and like personally unattractive are two different things.
You can't think both. This is how love bombing works. As long as someone keeps showering love and affection onto their partner, they think it will distract from the times that they insult and degrade them. Imagine if your partner
Ghost in my house again.
Called you a cheap, unattractive asshole.
Cheap, unattractive asshole.
And then when you call them out for how much them saying this hurt you, they responded by saying, "Oh, but baby, I love you so much. I would never hurt you." This is exactly what Trisha does with Jewish people.
You know what my wife does? She'll call me like she'll berate me. She'll call me like a piece of shit. I'm like a loser, and I'm a dumb asshole, and like all this horrible thing. And she'll call me stupid and like all these terrible things. And then I get upset, and she says, "But baby, I'm an empath. So when you're upset, I get upset. And so by you being upset, you're upsetting me right now. So you really need to stop being upset." Isn't that fucked up? Oh, I'm just kidding. She doesn't do any of that. My wife is amazing. It's just funny. It's just funny.
Trisha also has a strange obsession with only wanting to date racially pure Jewish people.
You want Jewish purity.
I need, yeah.
She doesn't want to fuck Ethan. I don't know if would Ethan be considered racially pure by that standard? I don't know, because she definitely was obsessed. She would like sexually harass Ethan and make him uncomfortable, and he would be like, "Can you stop?" And she would just keep going.
Said that American Jews aren't real Jews.
It's the American Jews that get angry, which aren't real Jews.
And she said that
Hey, Ben Shapiro said it too, Ryan. Are you telling me Ben Shapiro's wrong?
her ex-boyfriend tricked her because he wasn't a full Jew because only his mother was Jewish.
First of all, he tricked me. I thought he was a full Jew, and then he's like, actually, my mom's only Jewish. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, that's full Jew.
Okay, but his dad's like Catholic.
As Ethan explains, as long as someone's mother is Jewish, they are considered a full Jew by Jewish people.
Well, I think that she was talking about the ethnicity of it. I'm not trying to give her more like ammunition, because like I agree with the overall point. I'm just saying like I think that's what she means by full Jew, which is still problematic.
But Trisha needs both of his parents to be Jewish because she only wants the most genetically pure Jewish person, I guess. As a geneticist herself, Trisha should know that this way of thinking is extremely racist and is eugenics. And seeking racial purity is the type of thing a certain someone is known for. Even if you're not seeking white racial purity like Hitler, seeking Jewish racial purity is just as fucked up and racist. And even if this is just Trisha trolling, spreading eugenics is never okay. For some reason, Trisha thinks it's okay to degrade and insult American Jews as long as she compliments her boyfriend Moses for being a real Jew from the homeland Israel.
Seriously, American Jewish men have like really little penises and they're cheap. I do feel that way because I always dated Jewish men, but American Jewish. So now when I met you, I was like, ooh, we got a real one from the homeland.
However, Trisha has...
Oh my God. You know what's so funny is he probably eats it up, Moses. They have a very toxic relationship, but he probably eats it up. He probably like triggers a part of him. He's like, yes, I am a pure blood ethnic Jew. And I like that because that's not uncommon for people to feel good about their heritage, you know? So he's probably like, oh yeah, you like that? They probably fuck. He's like, you like my hard Jewish fucking cock, my Israel penis? I don't know. I don't know if I'm being... That's probably what he does. You know, she's probably like, yeah. And they have like a whole thing. You know, it's true, bro.
also insulted Israel.
This is why we're not all equal.
Okay, why don't you just go to... Okay,
we're not judgmental here. I think there's a reason people leave Israel. They don't stay there.
So Trisha thinks that American Jews aren't real Jews and that they're cheap and have small dicks, but she also thinks
It's true, I do have a small dick.
that America is superior to Israel and that everyone wants to leave Israel. Guess what?
America is superior to everything. Fuck everybody. America #1, baby.
Trisha, if you
Listen, Ryan, this begs the question. Is Israel real? Is it real? Because Free Palestine would say it's not real. You know? And then, you know, the pro-Israel movement would say Palestine's not real. It's actually used to be like, I forget exactly. It was called like Judea or something as the homeland. And then they changed it to Palestinia, the Romans, after they stole it from Jewish people. So we got to know what do you think, Ryan? Are you a Free Palestine man? You know? Personally, I think that we should just come to like a resolution. We should probably split the land in half, and just probably like, you know, like a new North America and South America. Like fuck everybody else. I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like just take it over, conquer the whole world, bro. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If only we could come to a 2-state solution.
simultaneously insult both American Jews and Israeli Jews, you just might be an actual anti-Semite. And let me repeat that one more time. She said
She actually calls it anti-cement. That's what she calls it. Ryan Beard, I support Palestine against the actions of Israel government, but I still think Israel exists. I feel that. I respect that, bro. I do too. I think that, well, I probably could get in hot water, but like, I wish that there could be a 2-state solution. You know, it's like I feel like it's just a lot of anti-Semite. What did she say? I don't remember. You know, it's easy to sit here and be like, I wish they can come to like a reasonable solution. That shit's fucked, man. That's why I'm saying America should just take it over, bro. Fuck it. Just call it North America and South America. Split it to 2 states. You know?
said that America is superior to Israel. That is just one step removed from saying white people are superior to Jewish people.
Maybe.
If you don't want people to think that you're a white supremacist, you probably shouldn't say that your country is superior to Israel. Because
well, my thing is like, I don't think that Trisha has any like understanding of anything. So I don't know why she would make that take. Like, if I was going to say that, I'd be like, oh, there may be some people want to leave Israel to come to America because it's safer, because there's not as much shit going on. But I don't know how educated she is on anything at all. So she might probably, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that she's just like fucking like, yeah, Israel's bullshit and sucks. And that could come from like some kind of like hatred or fetishization of like Jewish people. You know.
Because you know who else thought that their country was superior to Israel? In my opinion, Trisha probably doesn't actually care whether Jews are American or Israeli.
I'm trying to think. Did Israel exist? I know this is like ignorant. Did Israel exist at that point? Because my understanding is what happened is after the Holocaust, and I could be totally wrong, so excuse me if I'm wrong, that after the Holocaust, that's when like people, like Jewish people were displaced and like went to Israel. They're like their original homeland is what they say. I think that's what it is. I'm not like super educated on it, but he certainly hated Jewish people.
Or if they're genetically pure enough, she's just looking for excuses to insult Jewish people. On the podcast, Trisha also used claiming that she was planning to convert to Judaism as another way to deflect from criticism against her.
She's not Jewish.
I'm converting.
Not that I care, but she's not.
Okay, well, I'm on my way to convert. My boyfriend's an Israeli Jew.
At one point, her and Moses broke up briefly, and when this happened, she said that she was done with Judaism.
I'm over it, so.
Why? What happened? Why are you over it?
I think because I'm just taking a little break from my Jewish boyfriend, so.
You leave the man, you leave the religion?
I think so.
If you're willing to throw away your religious beliefs just because you stopped dating someone, it seems to me like you probably never actually had those religious beliefs, and
I don't think that she does at all. She probably does like have like a weird desire for Jewish beliefs. But I wonder if she was trying to convert to Judaism so that she can get married in some capacity. Maybe Moses, and I'm just speculating. It doesn't mean that this is true, but maybe Moses was like, "Oh, I want you to be Jewish because I want my kids to be Jewish." Because in the Jewish, like you mentioned it before, Ryan, it's like in the Jewish religion, you're not like you would take on the religious beliefs of the mother. So Moses probably didn't want the kid to be like a Satanist. So he was like, "Yeah, can you please convert?" You know.
This was all just an act to create controversy and capitalize off of Jewish people. Trisha has recently admitted that she's given up on trying to convert to Judaism, so I think that my hypothesis is probably correct.
Yeah, that shit's hard, bro.
Converting to Judaism is kind of like denying Jesus as my savior. Like Jesus is my savior.
In my opinion,
I think that some Jewish people believe that Jesus was a prophet, but not the Messiah. I think there are some Jewish people that believe that.
And none of
or all Jewish people. I don't know. Maybe it was just some of them. Oh.
This was ever about her actual religious beliefs or her actual sexual preferences. She was always just looking for opportunities to dehumanize Jewish people. In the very first episode of Frenemies, she says that she sees Moses as her Middle Eastern toy.
He's like a toy. It's like, oh, I got a Middle Eastern, you know?
Oh my God.
This is the problem
with said the whole same thing under my breath. Oh my God. The fuck is wrong with it?
fetishizing other races. It's not that you like their race.
Because I like Jewish people?
Because,
Nobody hates
no,
that?
the problem is that fetishizing them dehumanizes them. When you reduce a person to only focusing on your sexual attraction to that person, you start seeing them as a toy instead of as a human being.
He's like a toy. It's like, oh, I got a Middle Eastern, you know?
And when you don't see someone as a human being, you're likely to start reducing them to racist stereotypes.
American Jewish men have like really little penises and they're cheap.
And when you reduce people to racist stereotypes, you're more likely to start seeing yourself as superior to them.
This is why we're not all equal.
Okay, why don't you just go to...
And thinking you're superior to other races leads you to abusing them. And on the podcast, Trisha openly admitted to physically assaulting Moses.
Ethan brought it up on the podcast that makes me look like I'm a domestic abuse, like I'm a person that hits my partner. And like that was out in the open, and we even said Moses like stop, cut it. We're like don't put that in the thing. What does he do? He puts it in the fucking thing.
Wait,
it was never fucking public.
Well, maybe you shouldn't hit him.
I agree, but that is something that is so fucking personal that you said, and we're like please edit it out.
But somehow, Trisha, the queen...
I just like the response to Ethan. He's like, maybe you shouldn't have hit him. Like, yeah. What do you say to that? It's just crazy. It's like that. I mean, listen, they can settle that in private. Not for nothing, but we know enough about their relationship where Moses is probably just as abusive as Trisha is to each other. But to like victimize yourself in that scenario, you know, you're better off just keeping it like undercover. Like, you know, for instance, I did a mall haul in Mama Got the other day, and I went there and we spent like all this money on makeup so that when I hit her, I tell her to cover it up. I didn't even like that joke. Jesus Christ, that was too much. Okay, we're gonna retract that. I'm not gonna edit it out. We're gonna just all pretend that I never made that joke. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Queen of self-victimization was able to make Ethan out to be the bad guy because he exposed her for being an abuser rather than her being the bad one for being an abuser. Trisha tried to downplay her abuse towards Moses.
I did not punch him. You said that's why you broke up with me because I
It
punched
looks like more like she grabbed his arm. I don't know.
you. I went like this.
Okay.
And he's frail.
But she hit him hard enough to leave serious bruising. This should have been the end of her career, but if people like Chris Brown are any proof, that's not how fame works. The fact that Trisha admitted to physically assaulting Moses and basically no one cared is frankly disgusting to me. Everyone was totally on board with Trisha trying to cancel David Dobrik because David was involved with his friend assaulting girls, but no one tried to cancel Trisha for herself assaulting Moses. Why is that? In general, I like...
Yeah, like I think you mentioned part of it, like one's physical assault, one's sexual assault. There's very different things. There's probably also like a subconscious bias, like generally speaking, there's like a double standard. Like men are generally stronger than women. But, you know, if you look at the two of them, obviously, you know, maybe not. There's probably a lot of things. I'm not supporting that, but I think also because people, you know, don't take Moses seriously because he's fucking, honestly, I think he's also abusive. He's probably more emotionally abusive from what we've seen, but like, let's not forget, like he would stealth women, or at least one girl, those were the allegations. Shit like that, you know?
Like Ethan, but in my opinion, the second...
I'm not saying it's okay, I'm just saying.
Like,
I don't give a fuck about Moses or Trisha. I think they're both abusive pieces of shit, so I could care less about either of them. I'm sorry if that's a hot take, I just don't give a shit.
Out that Trisha physically assaulted his brother-in-law, he should have ended the podcast and never spoken to her again.
I agree with that. I agree with that one. I agree with that. I agree with the boundary setting. There was a profound lack of boundary setting from Ethan. That's the thing that I have like a bit of a problem with. Like, it's a very like they're like, and Ethan's. It's not Ethan's fault for Trisha being shitty, but like he didn't set any reasonable boundaries, and I think part of it was for money, and not because he's Jewish. You know. No, but I think that there was a financial aspect there. With Trisha, like the aftermath is like Ethan's videos do so much better than they used to. And they still did well. Like, I'm not criticizing the guy. But like at the end of the day, I think that he wanted to keep the show going because it was getting a lot of views, and then his other podcasts were getting a lot of views as well. They like doubled or tripled in their viewership. And I think that's why he kind of put up with it, which prioritizes honestly money and views over like reasonable boundaries, reasonable healthy boundaries, you know? So I think that there's an aspect there of Ethan to blame a little bit. Not most of the blame, but I think it's something to keep in context, at least for a point of like education on setting reasonable boundaries, especially with toxic people. Because something that you should, and this is why Ethan, maybe this is another reason why Ethan didn't end the show. It's also possible that like he wanted to continue to give her second chances and third and fourth chances because there's something mentally wrong with her, and I think Ethan understands that. I don't think that she has like schizophrenia, but she might have some like borderline. Dr. Drew said that, which I actually didn't agree with. There's something going on where she she's mentally, what would you call it? Incongruent? What's the politically correct term? You know what I'm saying? She's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, that's ableist. She has something going on, right? Whatever the politically correct term is for some kind of a mental disability, I don't know. And Ethan probably felt empathetic to or sympathetic to that. But here's the thing. This is something that you guys should all know. This is a really good lesson in life. One of the most person-centric thing you can understand, one of the most person-centric, like least ableist ideas you can understand is that people with like mental incapabilities can also be fucking dickheads. Like, understand that. Oh, he's in a wheelchair and he spit at you, he's still an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can keep that. So that's also something to keep in mind. You know, maybe it wasn't all money focused for Ethan. I think, you know, the other part of him being more sympathetic to her, I think that's reasonable. Probably a little bit of both. Yeah, I agree with. That's how I think. I believe that as well. You know, but I thank you very much, Ben Shapiro's Bussy. I really appreciate your perspective on this. Fucking, what is your name, bro?
Next, let's focus on the anti-Semitic messages and conspiracy theories that Trisha has spread that are directly in line with the messages of the Nazi Party. Years ago, Trisha posted a video called My Thoughts on Hitler. This entire video was dedicated to her giving excuses for why she thinks Hitler wasn't that bad.
Hitler can't be all bad if he had this big following. Fact, Germany got out of depression when he came into leadership.
Oh, what a base take. Oh my God. Like, yes, that is a thing that happened. But like, it's so interesting was when you talk about things, that one of the questions I try to ask now is like, why are you saying this? So if we had a conversation about like, oh, like the things Hitler did, and one of those things was, hey, he brought them out of a depression. I would say that in the context of like, yeah, it would have been great if we never forced them into a depression after World War I in the first place, because then Germany wouldn't have crumbled economically, and you wouldn't have seen the rise of a fucking psychopath.
Fact, the economy.
Also, keep in mind, Hitler was a failed art student. That's why I don't like you fucking new liberals. You fucking, oh, I'm an artist. Bro, you guys are one denial away from fucking destroying the country. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, that's why I don't like you fucking, you art majors, you fucking artsy fartsy people, you know? Go get a real job. You know what I'm saying, dude? Get a fucking real job.
Economy boomed in Germany. Fact, Germany had this sort of like rally again, like, okay, we're gonna overcome, we're gonna be one, we're gonna be united.
In my opinion,
be a Twitch streamer. Get a real job. Be a Twitch streamer, idiot. Popeye dropped out of art school. Does that make me better? No, that's what Hitler did, bro. Fuck. Gotta be careful of you.
Obviously, one of the videos Trisha would consider her trolling videos, where she says the most outrageous shit possible to create controversy and get views. She plays dumb and pretends to know nothing about history, and even pretends to think that we're currently in a World War III.
Self-admittedly, I was terrible at history. I didn't really care about history at the time, that we had to learn it through school. I didn't even know World War II came after World War I. I knew nothing about World War III.
However,
there's no way that she thinks that. What the fuck?
Previously established, one of Trisha's favorite hobbies at this time was reading literature about the Holocaust, and someone who knows nothing about history wouldn't know that Hitler caused Germany's economy to grow during World War II.
Bro, I'm honestly, as I'm listening to this, like, I'm actually kind of like, I'm starting to like really, it's starting to kind of make, oh my God, you heard that like gargling? It's starting to make a little more sense, because people are like, oh, Trisha's anti-Semitic. And at individual instances, I would look at it and be like, bro, I don't think that she is. She's just making a fucking joke and people are too sensitive. Although I didn't say they're too sensitive. I just said I think that people are making a joke. She's just making a joke, and people are you know, taking her in the worst faith because of who she is. But now after I listen to this, they kind of would make sense. Like, because what really triggers for me, what really connects the dots for me, is the potential and fascination with World War II literature and Holocaust literature. Like, that to me makes sense. It sounds like, and I'm just making, it's just speculation. It sounds like it's possible that she used to be really into that like Holocaust literature. Maybe she still is. And it really just molded her mind in a way where she was like, you know what? This guy Hitler makes sense. And some of the things that he says, and it just kind of like sits there in the back of her brain. And like now she reads this literature that has caused her to actually potentially have some kind of like a negative perspective on Jewish people. I wouldn't doubt that. And then it all comes together because she also like loves Adam Sandler. So, but she also likes the aesthetic of Jewish people. So now it becomes like a hate obsession, rather than if she had never been introduced to this, like probably like probably propaganda bullshit she was reading. If she wasn't introduced to it in the first place, she might have just had an attraction to Jewish people. But now it's possible that she like literally like fetishizes him. Like there's an aspect of it of like, you know what? Like you're inferior. Like I wouldn't doubt that. I honestly wouldn't doubt it. I don't think that we fully proved it. It's impossible to know what's truly in her head, but like I wouldn't doubt it, man.
And, by the way, some of the main reasons that the economy grew under Hitler were because he forced every German citizen to work or be thrown into concentration camps, forced them to—
That's just fucking socialism, Ryan. You know what I'm saying, dude? That's what we're all advocating for, bro.
To work insanely long hours, and forced 5 million people, primarily Jews, into slave labor. So, obviously the argument that Hitler wasn't that bad because he helped the economy is ridiculous. Even if Trisha didn't actually mean what she was saying because she—
Hey, didn't Hassan say like China's doing pretty well economy-wise, and that's a good thing, even though they're fucking? I don't know. Maybe I remember listening to that. You know, let's not bring Hassan into this. We too much of that. You know, it makes me upset. My penis can't get any more erect. You know what I'm saying?
Was just trolling. Someone with her extensive knowledge of the Holocaust should have known that spreading this type of Nazi propaganda is extremely dangerous, even if you're just trolling. And the point of her trolling videos were to convince people that she was actually serious. It's not like this was some sort of comedy act where you know that the person is clearly telling a joke. She wanted people to actually think that she was serious about spreading Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, like that probably is true. I think that's kind of like and I'm not justifying what she did, but for context, like that kind of trolling of like, it's fucking dumb, because this is what it is. It's basically like you act dumb and then somebody's like, you're really dumb. And they're like, ha, tricked ya. It's like, well, you already tricked me. You're an idiot. But that's kind of what it is. It's just taking it to the next level, like acting really stupid and playing like this really stupid character. And it's like people believe it, you know, almost like an Andy Kaufman kind of thing. Not that he's stupid, but like you get my point. The general, like he'd have a fight with like Jerry the King Lawler. Am I too old? Are you guys not understanding this? Probably not. And but it was all fake. But they would commit to it, and they would just like, Andy Kaufman's fucking insane. But you know.
Next, Trisha said on Frenemies that Jews are in the upper echelon of the world.
It's weird how you fetishize Jewish people.
It's not fetishizing. It's wanting to be in the upper echelon of the world.
Now, she didn't just say Jews are rich. She said they're in the upper echelon. The phrase upper echelon is the kind of thing that Nazis say. Your average person wouldn't use the phrase upper echelon unless they had been exposed to actual Nazi conspiracy theories. The conspiracy theory that Jews are in the upper echelon of the world and that they control all of the world's finances was first promoted in an anti-Semitic text called Protocols of the Elders of Zion. This conspiracy—
I wonder if she read that.
Theory that Jewish people are greedy and that they steal money and hoard wealth—
I know you're all about the money, and not just because you're Jewish—
is a complete myth, and it has been used as one of the main justifications for genocide against Jewish people. Trisha seems to think it's okay to spread this conspiracy theory because she sees it as a positive thing to be in the upper echelon of society. However, Trisha should know that saying something racist doesn't suddenly become okay just because you say it in a positive way.
You know, it's really interesting. Like, let's say she was saying it for a racist reason. Let's say that she didn't hate Jewish people, or I don't know. Let's just like remove all this other stuff. Let's just say, like, I don't know. Somebody said like, oh, I want to date a white guy because they're in like the upper echelon. Would that be still considered racist? I feel like that's still kind of like, ugh. Like I just want to date somebody because they have because they have some kind of power I want. It just feels uncomfortable, regardless of whether the Jewish element is in there, you know? Like, oh, I want to date this person because, and I used white because white people tend to perform better in society, not because they're better than other people, but because of systemic racism, et cetera, et cetera. You already know the deal. But yeah, like, oh, I want to date, you know what I mean? I want to date a rich person because they have money. I don't know if that's uncomfortable. I feel like it's a little bit.
If someone says, I love that black people are violent criminals, it doesn't matter if you say—
Bro, I'm clipping that out of context, bro. This is what I'm going to do. Check this out, Ryan.
Way. If someone says, I love that black people are violent criminals.
You can't believe you just said that, Ryan! Holy moly!
It doesn't matter if you say you love it, you still just promoted a racist stereotype that leads to hatred against black people. Trisha said that she wants Jewish children because they'll be in the upper echelon of society, but she can't even keep her story straight on if she does or doesn't want Jewish children.
You know what? I would say normally yes, but I think they shouldn't be because I think too many people are Jewish here in LA. I think we need some to stand out a little more. They should be non-Jewish.
Exactly.
Trisha said,
why would Trisha want like an ethnically Jewish person with, in her words, with like a bigger nose that she was talking about? Because then I feel like they'd be able to smell her disgusting pussy better. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you want somebody with like a small nose or something, with like a nasal problem? You know.
That she doesn't want Jewish children because there are too many Jewish people in LA. So, which is it, Trisha? Do you want Jewish children because you want them to run the upper echelon of society, or do you not want Jewish children because you want there to be less Jews? Whichever one it is, it's horribly anti-Semitic. I honestly have no idea whether or not Trisha actually does or doesn't want Jewish children. She's just talking about—
Moses did say that her vagina smelled, okay? So, you know.
children as an excuse to promote anti-Semitism. Another common Nazi conspiracy theory that Trisha has repeated multiple times is the idea that the Jews killed Jesus.
Jewish people killed Jesus is a fact, is what I'm saying. Jesus was a
I think he did get killed by Romans. Or Jesus was a Jew. He was killed by Romans. I don't think that Romans were Jewish. I think that they hated Jews. I think that they kicked Jewish people out of their homeland. Like, isn't that the whole thing? That's like the whole argument.
But the Jews killed Jesus, so.
This conspiracy theory comes from a sect of Catholicism called Radical
I guess his friends weren't Jewish and they ratted him out. I guess they kind of could have, but it was the Romans who killed Jesus. Jesus was a Jew, bro. He was Jewish. He was a Jewish man. Well, I guess we don't know his gender identity, but you get my point.
Traditionalist Catholicism. They use the claim that the Jews killed Jesus to justify hatred towards Jewish people. According to the Bible, the Roman government killed Jesus, not the Jews. And even if, according to the Bible, certain specific Jewish people were involved in causing Jesus to be crucified, using this as a justification to hate Jews for centuries is conspiratorial nonsense.
Basically, what I'm hearing you're saying, Ryan, is that we should kill Roman people, basically, is what you're telling me right now. Gotta kill all the Romans and everybody that's has Roman blood. Is that even a thing anymore? What would you call Roman people now? Like, what would be the next thing? I don't know.
One of the most famous radical
Let's just kill Italian people instead, you know?
Traditionalist Catholics is Mel Gibson, who famously said, "The Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world." On the H3 podcast, Ethan is well aware that the conspiracy theory that the Jews killed Jesus is anti-Semitic propaganda that only people like Mel Gibson believe.
The Jews killed Jesus?
Yeah, but Mel Gibson's a great actor, so who, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. If Trisha was a talented actress, then it would be okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it takes.
That's
like Braveheart, bro. Come on. What's a few hate crimes for a great movie like that? You know what I'm saying, guys? Because it was such a good movie. You know, just disconnect the actor from the art from the artist. I don't know.
It's like propaganda. And I think that only people like Mel Gibson actually believe that.
Mel Gibson also owns a radical traditionalist
Don't agree with that. That was a joke. Stop.
Catholic church near Los Angeles. And you want to know who used to attend that church? Trisha Paytas.
I know Mel Gibson. I used to go to his church in Malibu.
Yeah, you have his number?
I used to.
What?
Yeah.
Over the years, one of the people Trisha has always been obsessed with is Mel Gibson. In 2010, she released a song called My Love Song to Mel Gibson, which is...
Hold on. I have to see something really quick. Okay. So Mel Gibson had his anti-Semitic rant in 2006. That's my understanding. Okay. So at this point, we should know, hey, Mel Gibson is anti-Semitic. Yeah, that was July 2016. Okay. So that's when we should know Mel Gibson is not good. Okay.
Obsessed with is Mel Gibson. In 2010, she released a song called My Love Song to Mel Gibson, which is just brilliant.
The song's for Mel Gibson, who I love more than anything.
My favorite line from the song is, "Through all this controversy, domestic abuse allegedly, I still want you."
Through all this controversy, domestic abuse allegedly, I still want you.
It makes a lot of sense that Trisha would still want someone after they commit domestic abuse, because she has also committed domestic abuse. She also made another video called I Will Save Mel Gibson, where she's wearing a shirt with the quote, "You should just smile and blow me on it," which is a quote from when Mel Gibson was verbally abusing his partner. In 2014, Trisha tweeted, "Mel Gibson has a tiny penis," which might imply that she eventually...
When?
Partner. In 2014, Trisha tweeted, "Mel Gibson has a tiny penis," which might imply that she eventually ended up having sex with this anti-Semitic domestic abuser.
It's probably more common or more likely that she just was trying to insult him or something. I don't know. Or maybe that's her weird way of saying Mel Gibson is Jewish. Remember, she thinks all American Jewish men have tiny penises. And maybe Mel Gibson's self-hating. You know what I'm saying? You know? Why did I think... See, someone in the chat's like, why did I think Mel Gibson was Jewish? Because she calls American Jewish people say that they have small penises. That's why. That's what that association is from.
Trisha likes to say that everything she said in these old videos was just trolling. Well, if it was just trolling, then why would you choose to go to Mel Gibson's church, become friends with him, and possibly sleep with him? If someone makes...
You know what's more interesting is that, like, you know, she makes these, like, broad general, fuck, what am I can't speak. I can't say words. She makes these broad general statements saying that, like, oh, she apologizes for a thing, but she's never gone into depth about, like, what is she apologizing for? Like, I fucked up before in my content creation career. I fucked up. I've talked about the specifics of what I fucked up on, and then, like, you know, and I'll talk about it fairly often, you know, on the stream when I use it as a point to, like, to prove, like, a point, and, like, how you can, whatever, for whatever reason. She's never done that. It's not like she's been like, yeah, you know what? I've learned now that, like, a lot of the things that I was doing were very anti-Semitic, and I realized I was being really shitty. Blah blah blah. She's just like, I'm bettering myself. I'm gonna have a fucking baby. Well, you know what, Trisha, Jesus gave you that STD so that you wouldn't have the baby, because I think that Jesus knows you shouldn't have a baby. So I'm just I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I genuinely don't think that you should have a baby. Yes.
Makes a trolling video saying that they're in love with an anti-Semitic domestic abuser, and then they proceed to actually become close with that anti-Semitic domestic abuser, then the trolling video wasn't actually trolling. The entire point of trolling is that you don't actually mean what you're saying. So whenever Trisha says, I was just trolling, I honestly do not believe her. I think she just uses this as an excuse to deflect blame from the hateful things that she said. Trisha herself has always been a very conservative Catholic. She even used to run a channel called The Catholic Vlogger, which was dedicated to her trying to convert people to Catholicism. Now, obviously most Catholics aren't anti-Semitic, but the fact that Trisha chose to attend the radical Catholic Church of a well-known anti-Semite, and then she herself has been going around spreading the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories of these radical Catholics for years, is a massive red flag. Trisha's father is also a very conservative Catholic, and in the podcast that Trisha did with Shane Dawson, she says that the inspiration for many of her trolling videos would come from offensive things her father would tell her.
Because my dad says things that would offend a ton of people, so I just, like, started repeating whatever my dad would say.
So, did Trisha learn these anti-Semitic conspiracy theories from her father? Did she learn them during her time with Mel Gibson? All we can really do is speculate, but at the...
Don't forget the books, Ryan. It sounds like there might be just some like more deep-seated like the subconscious hatred or just distaste for Jewish people.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where she learned them from, because Trisha needs to take responsibility for her own actions. Spreading Nazi propaganda like this to millions of people does irreparable harm to Jewish people. Impressionable viewers of Trisha's content might say to themselves, I wonder what Trisha meant by saying that Jews are in the upper echelon of society. Well,
they probably don't know how to even read or like understand what the word echelon means, because they're fucking the only people who like Trisha are like 12-year-old girls.
If they go on the internet and search for the answer to that question, the place where they will find the answer is Nazi message boards. And before you know it, you have helped radicalize someone into being a Nazi. People in the alt-right love to use the excuse, I was just trolling, when they get called out for their anti-Semitism.
Hey, thanks for the bits, brother.
Trisha, saying you were just trolling doesn't cut it. If you contribute to the radicalization of Nazis, you are responsible. You don't get to say, what did Hitler do that was so bad, and then play dumb when you get called out. If you don't think Hitler was that bad, own that shit. Trisha is incredibly manipulative and incredibly good at shifting blame and deflecting and playing dumb and claiming she was just trolling or joking, but I have compiled all of the things Trisha has said about Jewish people into one long quote. Listen to this and tell me if it's something you would expect to hear from someone like Trisha, or if it's something you would expect to read on a Nazi message board. Jews are cheap, sneaky, unattractive assholes with big noses and small dicks. They run the upper echelon of society, and they're all about money. American Jews aren't real Jews. I would never date a half-Jew. If I'm going to date a Jewish man, I expect Jewish purity. I love fetishizing them and making them into my Middle Eastern toys, but honestly, I don't even want Jewish children, because there are too many Jews in LA. Everyone wants to leave Israel and come here because America is superior to Israel. I love Jesus, and the Jews killed Jesus. So really, what did Hitler do that was so bad?
Just sounds like normal dinner conversation at my house, you know? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. What's so problematic about that, Ryan? The fuck, bro? That is fucking ridiculous.
Finally, let's focus on Trisha's anti-Semitism towards Ethan in private. According to Trisha, if someone is racist behind closed doors, these are Trisha's own words, then they should be exposed and canceled.
If you're a racist, homophobic person behind closed doors, you should be exposed.
Well, after Trisha left Frenemies, she posted a screenshot of a private conversation between her and Ethan where she referred to Ethan as Jewy.
How about 60-40 JK? Sorry, I know it's lame. I was just thinking about it a little more. Oh my god. I was like so Jewy. I don't care. It's fine. I was just thinking I want to hook her up more.
Because she thought he wasn't paying her enough of the revenue from frenemies. Ethan called her out for how blatantly horrible and anti-Semitic this was, and she responded with one of her stupidest tweets of all time. Anti-Semitism is hostility or discrimination against Jewish people. That was obviously a joke in the text. A poor one at that. It wasn't malicious. If I discriminated against Jewish people, that would mean that I don't work with them, and I sure as hell wouldn't be marrying into it.
I feel like, is that like actual definition? Because I usually, when we talk about like just general bigotry, it's really it's is it hostile or prejudiced against Jewish people? Like, you don't have to be actively. Here's one thing I'll say, is that people who like good, for lack of a better term, like good bigots, like not good bigots, but smart bigots, that's a better way, know how to be bigoted without like explicitly expressing their bigotry. That is something to keep in mind. You know.
So let's break down how insanely fucking stupid this is. First of all, the word Jewy is a slur against Jewish people. Imagine if Trisha called a black person the N-word and they got upset at her for being racist, so she responded by saying, "It's not racist to call you the N-word, it's only racist if I refuse to work with black people." I hate to
Blackie, is that what you were meant to say? Oh, maybe you would have said like N-E. Oh, that would have been bad.
keep using black people as an example, but for some reason Trisha takes racism against black people.
That's because you're just another fucking goddamn leftist, Brian, that uses black people every time you have the goddamn chance. I'm just kidding, buddy.
Seriously, but not racism against Jewish people. When Seth from the Vlog Squad
How would you say it with gay people? Gay? You know?
spoke out about racism that he experienced from David Dobrik, Trisha said that people need to listen to Seth because he's a person of color and not to invalidate him when he says that the jokes made against him were racist.
Seth is a person of color is feeling racist and you're going to tell him he like don't feel that way? That's such bullshit.
But
you know, something interesting there is I'm pretty sure Trisha doesn't like be careful, Poppy, maybe I'm getting a little too edgy. It's interesting because Trisha, I don't think liked David Dobrik or her ex Jason, who worked with David Dobrik, and I don't like them either. I think they're fucking losers, especially Jason. He's a grown man that's like allowing these fucking, at the time, the younger people. Like, that's what I genuinely think. Jason is an older man who his existence is basically just encouraging the inappropriate behavior from David Dobrik, right? Because like, oh, older guy, he knows better, and he would be like, yeah, sure, do whatever. I'm fucking stupid, right? But she clearly did not like David Dobrik and Jason. So it's interesting that there are absolutely valid criticisms, but if you notice in the commentary community, the only time people get called out, it seems, is when they do something that bothers another content creator, right? So Trisha didn't get called out on any of her bullshit until she fucked with Ethan. And I'm not saying Ethan did it, but like then after, okay, she messed with Ethan, let's dig back and go back in time. It's understandable, but like, what's the criticisms are valid, but like, what's the framing of the criticism? I think it's totally justifiable, but you get my point. Then it comes down to David Dobrik. Like, why are he's definitely worth criticizing, but like, in what way? What's the framing? Well, Trisha had more credibility at that time because she was on Ethan's podcast, and so like, but why are we doing it? Are we calling it out in a way that's like, hey, this was bad, we should grow from it, or is it like, oh, I hate him, so I'm going to exaggerate the point as much as possible? And like, and you guys are not going to like this, but even the D'Angelo Wallace video against Shane Dawson, it didn't happen until Shane Dawson called out James Charles for his fucking inappropriate behavior with kids. Right? Are there valid criticisms? 100%. But what's the framing? Why did it happen? Are we exaggerating the perspective because of that framing? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of it's totally valid, but then that framing, is there like an inappropriate aspect to that framing? But then D'Angelo removed it once James Charles found out it was actually true. He did do those things. You know, like, it's just an interesting thing where you see it. Yeah, it's a clapback. It's usually not like a genuine, like, oh, I found this problematic thing about such and such and I want to talk about it. It's like, oh, this guy fucked with this guy, so now I'm gonna go out in on it, you know that wasn't a defensive Trisha scenario. I was just giving you like examples of when people actually get called out. People don't seem to care about the negatives until, you know, somebody frames it in a way for like a reason. It's like, I don't like this person, so I'm gonna go and frame it in this particular way. The difference between the Trisha thing is that Ethan didn't do that. He didn't frame it in a particular way, right? But you get my point. I guess.
But when Ethan, a Jewish person, tells Trisha that calling him Jewy as a joke was racist, she invalidates him and tells him not to feel that way. There was also a moment where Ethan and Trisha watched a clip of David Dobrik where he said he thinks it's funny to call Jewish people dirty Jews.
No, I mean, like, I know teachers that would make you dirty Jew jokes because it's just, what? It's not bad. They're just words.
And this was her response.
Oh my God, I think he's
based. Was that Jason who said that? The grown man said that.
Dirty Jew jokes because it's just, what? It's not bad.
People dirty Jews.
No, I mean, like,
I watched a clip of David Dobrik where he said he thinks it's funny to call Jewish people dirty Jews.
No, I mean, like, I know teachers.
Oh my God, I think he's, I don't want to say it, but I think allegedly, maybe in my head, this is not defamatory, maybe a white supremacist or something.
No. White supremacist?
Yeah.
So Trisha thinks that David making Jew jokes means that he's a white supremacist. Trisha makes Jew jokes constantly, so by her own logic, that means that she is a white supremacist. How could you possibly try to cancel someone for making Jew jokes and call them a white supremacist, but when you make Jew jokes, everyone should just know that you're not being anti-Semitic? It makes no fucking sense. The audacity for her to try to cancel someone.
Wait, she just says things that she feels in the moment that agrees with whatever she's thinking. So it's like, oh, I want this person to be seen as a white supremacist. Well, you said you made an anti-Semitic joke, you're a white supremacist. Now, that might make you one, but there's no logical consistency in Trisha's mind.
Someone else for making Jew jokes and then victimizing herself when she gets called.
If Jew isn't, somebody in the chat said, if Jew isn't a race, so it would be, I would normally gravitate away against saying if Jew. But if Jewish people aren't a race, is what you're trying to say, then you can't be racist towards them. You can only be bigoted, right? Yeah. So like we talked about this a little earlier in this. So obviously there's a Jewish religion, but there are ethnic Jews. Like that is a thing. So there are also ethnic Jews. So like, yeah, you can be racist towards them. And the way that she speaks about Jewish people, she does speak about them in a way where she focuses on the race, where she's like, I want a full-blooded Jewish person, you know? So
out for making Jew jokes is absolutely mind-boggling.
Oh my God, I think he's maybe a white supremacist or something.
When you make those statements of being an anti-Semite, it's really damaging.
In the tweet, she also says that it wasn't malicious. Well, I'll let Trisha debunk this one with her own words, too.
Okay, and he said there's no
That's
malice.
pretty corny.
To bring up race in general, there's malice behind a stereotype or something.
So, according to Trisha's own words, when you stereotype someone based on their race, that means that there is malice behind it. But when Trisha does it, there's no malice behind it. It seems to me like Trisha is letting her true intentions slip here, because if she acknowledges that making stereotypes based on race is malicious and making Jew jokes makes you a white supremacist, then that means that she has to be admitting that she is a malicious white supremacist, right? Ugh! I doubt Trisha will ever respond to this video because I don't have enough clout for her to care, but if she did respond, I know exactly what she would say. As good as Trisha thinks she is at gaslighting and manipulation, it's actually all incredibly predictable. So here's
Ryan said earlier in my chat, he said, just for the record, I was calling Trisha out when she was on Frenemies. I wasn't referring to you specifically. I was referring to the general narrative against Trisha more than anything else. Like that, not you specifically. Like I was watching the Frenemy shit too, and I was calling Trisha out as well. But like we're talking about like the general like public narrative of like with calling out and like how it you know the way the framing of the situation, you know what I'm talking about? I guess the pariah aspect, if that makes sense, right? Because like this frenemy situation turned Trisha into a pariah, I think justifiably so. Trisha's framing on David Dobrik turned him into a pariah. D'Angelo Walsh's framing on Shane Dawson turned him into a pariah. You know what I'm talking about? I guess that's what I was talking about more than anything else.
Response video that Trisha would make to this video if she ever responded.
Hi.
Oh my God.
I didn't want to have to make this video, but I am dealing with non-stop harassment. A few days ago, some irrelevant channel named like Beard or something made this video claiming that I am anti-Semitic. Honestly, this guy is obsessed with me. I think he might be like a stalker or something because he dug up clips from 10 years ago. How much of a freak do you have to be to dig through all of my old videos just to find clips that fit your narrative? I don't know what to do. I think I need to get a restraining order against him or something because he just won't stop. The harassment it never stops. What can I even say at this point? I literally just married a Jewish man. How could you claim that I am anti-Semitic when I am married to a Jewish man? I literally shove Jewish cock inside of me every night, and you're saying that I am anti-Semitic. You took clips where I am clearly joking, clearly trolling, and you just spun them to fit your narrative because you want to clickbait my name and you want to get famous off of using my name. Well, keep my name out of your fucking mouth. You don't know how much.
I'm trying to find the video that Trisha made where she like says something about people who talk about her, and she's like, "You guys I'm happy that I can employ so many people." It was kind of funny. It was kind of funny.
It hurts a person to call them anti-Semitic. You don't know how much it hurts me. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry that in my 15 years on the internet, I haven't been perfectly politically correct at all times. I'm sorry that I haven't said all the perfect things that the woke mob wants me to say, okay? I'm sorry. This man is using his male privilege to bully.
You gotta speak faster, Ryan. She fucking she's a rapid fire cannon. You should have like increased the speed of this clip through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have increased the speed through the clip so it was like running at 50% increased speed, so this would have sounded like insane, you know?
Me, a neurodivergent non-binary person.
Oh my god.
Do you know how much saying things like this triggers my PTSD? Do you know how much calling me racist hurts me? You just don't care.
Ryan, all you have to say to her if she does that is like, I'm not real. I'm just one of your schizophrenic episodes. How do you know I'm real? You know? She'll fucking blow her mind.
You just don't care. I literally have mental disabilities. I literally black out whenever I talk about Jewish people. So I don't know. Maybe I said some offensive things about Jewish people. I was literally blacked out. You are literally bullying a neurodivergent non-binary person. All I want right now is to be able to enjoy my wedding in peace with my Jewish husband. But I can't because of this constant harassment and constant bullying and constantly calling me an anti-Semite when I have proved so many times how much I love Jewish people. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Is that what you want to hear?
Bro, when you didn't even say once that he needs to take down the video. He needs to take down the video, you know what I mean?
Will that make you happy? Will that satisfy the mob? I'm sorry. Now please, just make the harassment stop.
The purpose of me making that was just to show how easy it is for Trisha to shift blame and refuse to take accountability. Mental health struggles are completely valid, but weaponizing your mental health struggles to refuse to take accountability for domestic abuse and racism isn't valid. And Trisha agrees with me.
I'm so sick of people using mental health as an excuse to be like a shit person or not know what's going on in the world. It's like, no, you're a shit person. Own up to it.
Trisha, as much as you don't want to admit it, you have been consistently racist and done consistent harm to the Jewish community. You even had a Holocaust survivor call you out, but you refused to listen. I don't know if deep down you really do hate Jewish people, or if you have just been spreading Nazi propaganda for attention, but regardless, I hope you get what you deserve. The thing you fear most. No one watching your videos, no one believing a word you say, and no one giving you any more attention. Ugh, that was...
It's probably never going to happen, man, because people, like Trisha, people love to hate her, so they just keep watching content about her and her own content, and like, it's just the reality of the world, man. Like, if people truly hated Trisha, like, and they were like, we want to do like we want to orchestrate an active event against her, people would just stop talking about her. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be the only effective way. But here we are, bro. You know, people can monetize their conversation with her. I'm not criticizing your video. I do it too. I talk about Trisha too when I feel like it's like relevant to talk about. That's just the reality of the world, man. It's just what's gonna keep her going. Because at the end of the day, people love to hate her. You know, and they that she's a fucking supervillain. That's what it is.
As a doozy. This was definitely the biggest undertaking I've ever gone through, but I thought this video was worth making because I was kind of disappointed that I hadn't seen anyone on YouTube really call out how horribly racist Trisha really is. I do want to acknowledge that I am white and I don't have a perfect knowledge on
You fucking serious? Ryan, if I knew you were white from the start, I would have turned it off right away.
History or anti-Semitism, so I deeply apologize if I made any errors in this video. I've linked a few videos from Jewish creators down below who are much more knowledgeable on the topic and went into more detail on the religious aspects of Trisha's anti-Semitism. Also, just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon. I put probably around 100 hours into this video, and it can be kind of stressful to focus on these massive projects because I worry that, you know, what if I put it out and then it doesn't perform well? It just creates some financial insecurity. So anyone who wants to support me on there, that would be absolutely amazing. It definitely helps me feel more confident in making these sort of deep dive videos and not having to worry about, you know, financial stuff. Obviously, absolutely no pressure, just having you here watching the video.
That's unfortunate, Ryan. You spent 100 hours on this fucking video. This video is going to be like an hour and 10 minutes, bro, for me. I spent an hour and 10 minutes. You'll make more money, but who's the real winner? Me. Because I get to fucking sleep. Fuck you, Ryan.
Woo! Video is enough. However, if there is one thing you could do for me that would make me literally so happy, go and block Trisha Paytas on every single social media platform. The only way to beat Trisha Paytas is to stop giving her attention. I know it can be entertaining to watch whatever outrageous shit she does next, but in my opinion, she has just done so much damage to so many different communities, so many different individuals, so it's just not worth it. So, New Year's resolution 2022, everyone block Trisha Paytas. Another just huge thank you for sticking around till the end. I'll see you in the next one.
In all seriousness, though,
trying
Ryan,
to get his semen,
you should.
And he's
what the fuck did I click on? I was saying, in all seriousness, Ryan, you should probably try to do something else too. Like, while you do this, like, I don't think it would be a bad idea to like do a. Let's just start a podcast, bro.
God.
Yeah. So this.
We'll call it the cum butts or something. But that's not a bad idea. Something that's like easier that you don't have to put so much effort into while you make like the high effort videos. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, pretty good video, brother. Pretty good video, brother. Now I gotta take a big pee-pee.